All right. Good evening, Tanya. Thanks for being here. And Tanya has more than 5 years of experience. She's working in Intuit right now as a senior product designer. Previously worked at Razorpay, has also experience with Tata, Walmart, Chumbak, and multiple other brands. Tanya, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Saleh. Thank you for having me. Uh, so I think, yeah, that summed up my 4 5 year career. But to go back in the past, I would say I have been an out and out designer. So even by education and then in terms of my work. So I did my graphic design specialization in my undergrad and was really excited about it. Did a lot of internships while I was studying. And my last internship was a UI UX internship. And at that time, UI UX was this upcoming thing. We did not have like very professional courses out there on it. And I was really excited about it. And when I graduated, I thought, you know what? I don't want to go back to graphic design. Maybe this is something I want to explore. And I decided that, I want to do it with a rigor, with academic rigor. And hence I joined NID, studied information design for 2 years. I think best years of my life, got a lot of exposure, great people, great perspectives, great years in all ways. Yeah, so studied information design for 2 years and then have been working since then. So yeah, that's the design journey in nutshell.
And in terms of like the problem statements, right? What's been the most exciting problem statement that you've solved till now? And what's been like one of the biggest breakthroughs also in your career?
I can think of couple of problem statements. First one was I was right out of college and was working with Tata Strategic. This was for grassroots level engineers who work on the Jal Shakti Ministry's work. Basically, these are government engineers, and they wanted to create an app to track the Jal Shakti Ministry's work that's been happening. That was a very interesting space because you don't see apps around, you don't have any benchmarks for it. How do you solve for this group? These are people who are just used to probably like WhatsApp, YouTube, and you want to kind of create an app for them. And these people are, working in villages. So they're educated, but their technology while exposure is very less. So that was one very interesting project, and got to work on it right out of college. So yeah, really got to see my chops in design and how it's going for me. So that was one interesting project. After that, I moved to Walmart, and it was again a very different space. So from working to grassroots level engineers in India, it was like designing for American customers in cities and suburban areas. So very different context, a very different world altogether. So that shift was very interesting. I think over there, understanding their mental model, understanding what they value, you really kind of have to immerse yourself, into what are things that are important to them, what their day looks like, and how Walmart sits into all of that. So it was, understanding all of that and then designing for them. So I think that was interesting. And then coming to Razorpay, I think I've spent a a large amount of my working years in Razorpay. So over there, I think there was one project that I'm particularly proud of, is Bulk Payout Revamp. So it's special also because the PM that was supposed to work on the project kind of left in between, and as a designer, I had to kind of take in the reins and lead it. So I think that really made it special for me. So yeah,
Could
some
you,
of
could you also like go deeper into the aspects of the bulk payout problem statement that you solved? What were you trying to achieve as a designer, right? What was the output, and what are the nuances that nitty-gritties that you ended up learning?
right, right. Uh, I'll just give some context. So Razorpay basically works as a full stack financial solutions for businesses, and you can just think about it as they help businesses accept payments and then disburse payments. So this particular project is about disbursing payments, doing payouts as
Right.
a business. So in that, payout is a very huge use case, and bulk payout makes it a lot more important because when people are doing bulk payouts, your revenue is going to increase
Yeah.
depending on the number of payouts they're going to do. So the problem statement came to us because we saw this data that a lot of our users were dropping off. and this was leading to lesser revenue, lesser user base on this particular product. And whoever was signing up, they were trying it for 1 or 2 times, but they were not continuing. So we figured out there's some problem, but we didn't know what it was. And I think from there the whole journey started. Then the goal became that we want to make this product as one of our key offerings, and
Right.
whoever comes to this platform, when they try it out, it should be as easy, as good, that they should come back to it and use it. So we started the discovery, why this is happening, and spent quite some time on understanding this. Did a lot of things. So this is the typical user research process that comes into the picture, right? And when we say user research, I think a lot of us think that it means you go and talk to users, which is very essential and critical. But along with it, there are a lot more things that you can do. It's not always you going and talking to users, but there are other activities that you can do to understand what could be the problem. So before talking to users, we wanted to build some understanding hypothesis,
Right.
why this is happening. So for this, we looked at some of the support tickets that were being raised. So in a way, it is user's voice,
Yeah.
that you're hearing when you're going through support tickets. We also looked at some of the survey results, which we had put on the platform. We talked to our sales team. So our sales team, who are in touch with the business owners, they get again first-hand feedback from these people. What is working, what is not working, and from all of this, we had some hypothesis that what is going wrong. So again, a little bit of technicality I might have to introduce over here. So for bulk payout, the payout could be done in numerous ways. It could be a bank transfer, it could be UPI, it could be wallet. And based on this method, the kind of fields they have to fill change. So what we had done in our offering, we had given them a sheet, and this sheet had 22 columns. Depending on your payment method, you can fill the relevant column, and that way your payout will get created. So what was happening over here was that people were coming onto this sheet and looking at those 22 columns, they were getting extremely overwhelmed. And when they used to fill the sheet, there was no validation, there was no guidance on the sheet on how to fill it. Some of the terms were, not, comfortable for them. They were not used to it. All of this was leading to problems. And if they finally create the sheet and upload it, lot of errors were coming, and that became a deterrent. So we kind of figured that out from these previous activities, and then got on calls. There's one particular call I remember. So it's a little difficult to do recruitment in this particular area because our user base are these business owners, startup owners, and it's you cannot incentivize them by giving them a 2000 rupees Amazon voucher. Their time is extremely precious. So you kind of have to build a relationship with them, make them understand that the input is going to kind of reflect in the product. So it was very difficult to do the recruitment, but we got few people, and there was one call. So all these call used to be like 30-45 minute calls. We used to ask them to come on the call and do the whole thing while sharing the screen and talk out loud. um, so this particular call, it went on for 90 minutes. It was scheduled for like 45 minutes or so, because both of us were stuck and were not able to figure out how to do it. And just being on that call created so much empathy for this user. And whenever we showed these recordings to the team, people were able to understand what the problem is. And when your developers, PM partners, analysts, anyone who hears it, sees it from the user's point of view, everything just changes. There's such an alignment. You don't have to fight what is important, what is not important, because everyone can see what is going wrong. So I think we spent quite some time on research, but got like really good insights. And I think that is super important. So generally, you will get some pushback for research that, oh, why do you want so much time? Why do you want to do these many things? But I think it's critical that you do them, because if you figure this out, this is like the foundation of the project. If you crack this, then going forward it's going to be so much more easier to deliver the impact, because you know what you're solving for. If you fail at this stage, you can't do anything right at the later stages that will fix it. So I think really glad that we got that much time and could frame the problem statement in a very succinct manner at this stage. So I think, yeah, that happened. Once we got to know exactly what the problem area is, we got into solutioning. And oh, before solutioning, so yeah, we got all of this. and we decided that okay, this is coming from the users, it's qualitative to some extent, let's also look at the data. So partnered with product analyst. So there was no PM, so I kind of had to step in and have these conversations, and looking at all these data tables were very overwhelming for me. But had an amazing product analyst partner called Shrey,
Right.
and he helped me out, and I would just go to him with questions and be like, tell me if this is the pattern or not. And that was not definitely not in the language that he was used to, but he kind of understood what I was asking for. And we got a validation that what we're looking for is reflecting in the bigger data as well. And after that, the solution we came up with was that depending on every payment method, we'll provide different sheets and different solutions. So
Okay.
instead of offering everything in one thing, which we thought as a convenience was not, because people were not mixing like two bank payments, then one UPI, then three wallets. They were not doing that. And I think that was one big insight, that there is no mixing of these. There's no mixing of things. If people are paying their employees, they're not going to pay their vendors on the same sheet.
Got
So we got to know all of these things. Then there were some other changes in terms of how the flow was structured, the copy, and a lot more details over there. But I think this was the main pain point that we solved. And yeah, then did the solutioning, did user testing. I think that is one good point at which you get a check if your designs are really working or not. Because if it is not working, there's no point pushing it forward in the development. You can kind of stop and go back and fix things.
Right.
As you move forward, I think it gets difficult and difficult to change things, and you already have like spent so
Right.
much time on it. So yeah, I think we got to know few of the things that could have been better, so changed those. And but overall it was like a good result in our usability testing. So it went to development, and finally it was released. In terms of impact, so the idea was in the first quarter after the release, we'll hit 5 cr, quarter in the sense 3 months.
Right.
But we hit 18 cr in the first month itself. Yeah, and all of the other following metrics we had, for the success rate of sheet uploads, etc.
Right.
The new users that we wanted to get onboarded on the product, all of
Right.
the success criteria were met, and it went beyond that.
Right.
So I think, yeah, that's something, if you follow the process really well,
Right.
you can, deliver the results and see the impact.
I think is it because you being in a product centric company, uh, is there a difference in a design philosophy that comes across? Philip, in your experience, because you've worked with Walmart, you've worked with Tata as well. What's been the difference here then? Because what I sense is you've gone deeper into the problem statement, but as you've gone deeper, you've been allowed time to go deeper as well into it. So
Right,
what's been the difference?
right. So don't have a lot of experience of working in service based environment, so can
Hmm.
just talk about how things work at product companies. So you're right, we do get a lot more time to dive deeper. And it also comes down to your progress and your rigor. If you're doing research and you can show the results, you can show what you're getting out of it, you can kind of get a buy-in from the team, you can kind of extend the timelines, because they can see that you are onto something. Overall, there's a lot of support to the design, there's a lot of empowerment in terms of what all designers could do. As I said, like there was no PM on this project, and I kind of had to step in and wrote like a draft of PRD, got that reviewed by other PMs and all of that. That sort of empowerment comes from the org culture and the people, your mentors, your managers, etc. So I think that was definitely there. So that's a big factor. Yeah.
Yeah, I think anyone who's listening to this conversation would love to understand what's the design philosophy at Razorpay, right? Because not everyone can get into it. It's like an IM of product companies, right? So what's the design philosophy at Razorpay?
I think customer obsession is at the center. So everything starts with the customer. And when I say customer, it doesn't always have to be like the end user. In some cases, it could also be an internal employee. If you're creating a tool for your help desk employees or your support staff,
Hmm.
they could be the customer in that case. And so just focusing on the people for whom you're designing
Hmm.
is at the core. And I think that is one. Another thing is a lot of focus on problem definition. You would never come, onto a project and then directly jump into solutioning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that happens before that, where the problem statements are defined, they're reviewed by, your peers. And it's not it does not happen in silos. It's not that PM will go sit in one room and do and come out and show it to the team. It doesn't work like that. Designers, developers, PMs work together and come up with these things. So a lot more collaboration, focus on user, and focus on, problem definition.
So let's say anyone starting out in their career, right? Because you might have learned a lot by now. What's like a few advices that you would end up giving to a person who ends up saying, Tanya, give me an advice how to become a designer.
Right. Um, I wouldn't say that, one advice would fit all, because I believe that there are different types of designers. Even if you are a product designer, you could be, extremely driven by research. You could be someone extremely driven by visual design. And if you're in your early years, try to figure out, which direction you want to go into,
Hmm.
what is your strength, what you enjoy. Along with it, there are definitely some basics that, if you follow, you'll definitely see, more success and impact. Some of those things are, you know talk to your users as much as you can. Just get their feedback at every level. And this can happen at any stage, be it research, you're doing the user calls, be it ideation, you can actually call users and do ideation with them.
Right.
Once your solution is ready, you can do user testing. So, it is at every stage, and once the product is out, you can go and ask them for the feedback. So it's not that, there's a particular stage that you go to talk to users and that's that. It's not like that. You have to keep users in the loop. And it kind of gives you so much confidence, because you have the proof from the user.
Right.
It's like coming directly from the horse's mouth. So keep users in the center and everything will follow.
What was in that 90-minute call that really pumped up everyone, in, personally you as well? What was the insight there?
So there's this one particular thing that happened, that we created the sheet, took a lot of time to figure out exactly what should go in each column. And when we were trying to upload it, it was throwing an error. And the thing was, when we were uploading, it threw an error. We corrected that and uploaded the sheet. Now our expectation was, now it will go ahead and, we'll do the processing.
Right.
But it got stuck again through another error. And
Right.
so the thing was that it was stopping at every time there was an error, and it was not happening all at once. And the correction was extremely difficult, because there was no explanation what the error is. It just
Right.
highlighted a particular cell saying this is an error. We don't know what the error is. So it was extremely frustrating, to sit there and figure that out. And when people saw those clips, uh, they could feel it, that okay, the job that must have happened in 5 minutes is taking 20 minutes. Why
Right.
would anyone use this product? So
Right.
that really struck a chord. Yeah.
Awesome. I think Tanya, it's been like a really good, honest conversation. It's been crisp, and for the timing, we'll keep it crisp as well. And for the future, we'll have like a bigger in our conversation. But I think the meat of the conversation has been really insightful. Thank you so much for taking that time out.
Thank you for having me, Salil.